was a moment in childhood when something no bigger than your palm held all the promise of adventure. A tiny metal car, perhaps scratched and scuffed, but beloved all the time. You raced it across the floor, imagined distant roads, and tucked it away in a drawer when playtime ended. Welcome to INDUSTRIA, where we uncover the fascinating processes behind the manufacturing of items inside the factories. So grab your snacks and let's go. A little car made of metal and dreams. It wasn't just a toy. It was freedom, adventure, and childhood all compressed into one die-cast miracle. What if we told you that this miniature marvel began in a small workshop, and today it's been held by millions, collected by generations, and still rolls off factory lines around the world? Today we're going behind the scenes to uncover how these miniature icons are made. But first, how did a humble idea become a worldwide attraction? The story begins in 1953 in the East End of London, a city still rebuilding from the ashes of World War II. Two friends, Leslie Smith and Rodney Smith, founded Lesney Products & Co. Ltd. The factory in Tottenham produced small die-cast parts. Still, inspiration struck when an engineer named Jack Odell created a tiny toy steamroller for his daughter. The catch? Her school only allowed toys small enough to fit inside a matchbox. That single idea sparked a revolution. The first official Matchbox car, the Aveling Barford Road Roller, was released in 1953, packaged in the now iconic small yellow and blue box. By 1954, Lesney officially launched the Matchbox 175 series, 75 miniature vehicles that captured the spirit of the real world. Fire trucks, race cars, buses, and bulldozers. Each one is no bigger than a matchbox, yet built with astonishing detail. Early favorites include No. 12 Land Rover, No. 17 Bedford TK tipper truck, and No. 6 quarry truck. By the mid-1960s, Matchbox dominated small die-cast vehicles worldwide, producing tens of millions of vehicles annually and had achieved global reach. Lesney eventually went bankrupt on July 11, 1982, but the Matchbox brand survived under Universal Toys, Tyco, and finally Mattel in 1997. But how did Matchbox cars become so realistic, so accurate when they were only a few centimeters long? Today, every Matchbox car begins its life as an idea. Designers at Mattel's Design Center in El Segundo, California, start by choosing a real-life vehicle, from classic construction trucks to Ferrari supercars. Each design is first sculpted in clay or resin, then digitized into 3D models. The proportions must be exact down to a tenth of a millimeter because at 1:64 scale, even a slight distortion ruins the illusion of realism. But scaling down isn't as simple as dividing by 64. Designers must exaggerate proportions by enlarging wheels, reshaping mirrors, and deepening grooves so that every detail pops, even at miniature size. In the early years, Matchbox recreated British classics like the MG Midget, Austin A40, and Jaguar XK120. But by the 1970s, their catalog exploded, including global favorites such as the Jeep CJ5, the 57 Chevy, the VW Beetle, and the rugged Land Rover Series 2. Once the digital blueprint is perfect, a 3D resin prototype is printed, painted by hand, and approved by both designers and engineers. Design isn't just about looks. It's about durability, cost, play value, licensing, and the magic of recognizability when a child sees that car and says, "That's the one!" Once the design is locked, it's sent to the factory where molten metal, color, and creativity meet. Many confuse Matchbox with Hot Wheels, another Mattel brand launched in 1968. The distinction lies in philosophy. Matchbox emphasizes realistic, miniature replicas, while Hot Wheels focuses on fantasy, speed, and stunt-ready designs. By the 1970s, Matchbox's catalog expanded globally, balancing realistic replicas against the imaginative play Hot Wheels inspired. Think of a Matchbox 57 Chevy versus a Hot Wheels Bone Shaker. One mirrors reality, the other ignites imagination. Production begins with zinc alloy, often called Mazak, heated to over 400 degrees Celsius until it melts into a liquid. This molten metal is then injected under high pressure into precision molds which shape the body and chassis of each miniature vehicle. This process, known as die casting, is crucial for both durability and fine detail, ensuring that every tiny panel, groove, and bumper is crisp and accurate. Each mold is capable of producing multiple cars before signs of wear appear, though regular maintenance ensures every casting meets Matchbox's exact standards. Once cast, the raw metal parts are carefully cooled, trimmed, and polished to remove any excess metal or flash. This step is vital, as even a small imperfection could affect the car's rolling ability or fit with other components. According to historical reports, by the time of Lesnie's peak production in the late 1950s and early 1960s, the factory claimed over 2 million parts stove enameled every day. Factories in Thailand, China, and Malaysia now handle most of Matchbox's global output, with millions of units produced each month. But once the cars are assembled, what safeguards ensure they last for play, for decades, for collecting? But before we unfold more on how Matchbox cars are made, just a quick reminder, if you're liking this video so far, you'll love what else we've built here on Industria. Check out the channel for more awesome factory stories. Painting is where a car's personality emerges, where art meets engineering. Once the bare metal castings are polished and prepped, they move along an automated electrostatic painting line, ensuring an even, flawless coat that clings perfectly to the tiny surfaces. First, the car bodies are washed and primed, creating a perfect canvas for the multiple layers to follow. After washing and priming, bodies go through 8 painting stages: base coats, metallic flakes, clear coats, and decals. Each shade is carefully mixed to replicate real-world car paints. The cherry red of a 1965 Mustang Fastback, the metallic green of a Land Rover Defender, or the deep navy of a Bentley Continental. Even subtle details like headlights, grills, and racing stripes are applied using tampo printing, a method that transfers ink from a silicone pad directly onto the model's surface with incredible precision. Limited editions or special releases, such as the Superfast series of 1969 or the Convoy trucks of the 1980s, often use multi-layer printing to achieve richer textures. That's how the sparkle, the shine, and the lifelike detail come alive, giving each car its personality. It's in this stage that a tiny block of metal transforms into a miniature marvel car, ready to inspire imagination and become a cherished keepsake for generations. Every Matchbox car faces a rigorous series of tests, far beyond a simple visual check. Each wheel is spun over 10,000 times to ensure perfect alignment and a smooth rolling motion. Then comes the drop test, where cars are released from heights of about 3 feet to simulate the bumps, crashes, and tumbles of real play. Paint durability is assessed through scratch resistance tests and verified for lead-free and non-toxic safety, complying with global standards with ASTM F963 and EU toy safety standards. Inspectors also check if every model fits flawlessly into its Matchbox-sized packaging, maintaining a 70-year-old tradition of precision. Those that fail even by a fraction of a millimeter are melted down and recycled. This obsession with detail is why many Matchbox cars from the 1950s and 60s still roll today, passed down from parents to children like treasured heirlooms. Once approved, the cars proceed down the final packaging line, where precision automation meets artistry. Robotic arms gently lift each miniature from the conveyor, placing it into either a clear blister pack or the classic cardboard Matchbox, a nostalgic nod to its 1953 origins. The artwork printed on every box isn't random. It often mirrors the real car's color scheme, decals, or racing livery, creating a sense of authenticity that collectors cherish. Even the font and layout are designed to evoke a feeling of realism, like holding a piece of the road itself. Today, Matchbox sells more than 40 million cars annually, each one identical in quality and spirit. From there, the cars are packed into bulk cartons, sealed, and prepared for shipment. They travel thousands of miles by sea, air, and truck before landing in toy aisles across over 150 countries. Over the decades, certain Matchbox models have achieved near-mythical status among collectors. Let's explore a few that shaped the legend. The 1961 Majerus Dutz crane truck that once sold for over $13,000 at auction is one of the rarest Matchbox models ever made. Only a handful with its original paint scheme survived. The BP Dodge Wrecker No. 13, Ferrari Berlinetta, and the 1968 Mercury Cougar are other collector favorites, often trading for hundreds of dollars depending on condition. In total, Matchbox has produced more than 10,000 distinct models and variations since its founding, from workhorses like the Ford Cortina and Mini Cooper to fancy cars like the superfast Blaze Blitzer. Each one carries a small story of its era, its owner, its design philosophy. Maybe your first car wasn't a real one. Maybe a little red convertible that could fit in your palm. You pushed it across the floor, crashed it into table legs, and still somehow it survived. That's the quiet magic of Matchbox. It reminds us that imagination doesn't need horsepower, just heart. These cars began as a gift from a father to his daughter. Today they sit on the shelves of collectors, and some are even still in toy boxes. From the hands of Lesnie's workers in 1953 to the high-tech factories of today, Matchbox continues to craft not just cars, but memories. And here is your answer for how Matchbox cars became legendary. Because it was never just about the car. It was about the dream of the car, the freedom, the adventure, the story that each tiny wheel carried. And there you go, how Matchbox cars are made. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Industria. And if you are interested in finding out how Hot Wheels are actually made, then you must check out the video on the channel and let us know in the comments what stuff we should dive into next.